we're trying to do something, I guess, in a similar vein.
We're doing a short film at the end of the summer that's horror, comedy, more comedy than horror.
Is it the one that, is it Tila was writing?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So that's a good intro.
So before we start
I mean, like, not like for the podcast, but for like,
yes,
we have something to jump off of now.
Do you want to open that?
Pardon?
Do you want to open that?
Do I? This is how we're gonna.
Just so that, because otherwise it'll be awkward, right?
It's true.
There you go.
And it'll be noisy.
Oh, do we want?
This is not an ASMR unboxing.
What? Oh, look how pretty that is. That's going to be in the shot.
Like you could have threw it off camera, but you decided to go right on the edge.
Yeah, I suppose.
Here.
There we go. This is nice.
Yeah,
That's
Thank you.
gorgeous. It's very
Thank you.
professional looking.
it is.
You just giving these away?
I could get you one.
Oh, I bet you could.
Should we hang it up in front of our local cinema?
Yes. Except it's pressboard. It might
It might
not last long.
erode in the rain. That's cool.
Yes, it is, and that's the film adaptation, if I'm right. So it got a title change.
Got a different title. That's a good point.
Well, because it's the same demon with a different story. Because eventually what I want to do is, I want, especially once the movie comes out, I want to put a call out to do an anthology, and everyone has to write about the demon, but it's the demon of technology, and they can take any liberties they want with the storyline.
That works.
Yeah. So it'll be a full anthology with different writers about the same demon.
Sounds like a Black Mirror thing almost to me.
Well,
yeah.
but I mean, it's kind of like, Dracula and Werewolf and all that, where everyone just writes whatever they want.
And you did it much like the smart writers in college would do. You adapted a novel of yours to a screenplay, but you still keep the rights to your novel to yourself.
That's right.
Back in school, we had people who would write their hearts out for these film projects, but if you pay attention to the contracts we sign as students, any project that we do is owned by the school. So there's people writing these movies that they had developed over the course of years that are no longer theirs, so they cannot develop it after school. So when I was pitching everything, I was very careful. I took some of my major ideas, but I changed them just enough that I could still maintain all ownership of the original content, changing names and certain elements and whatnot.
Because concepts are open.
Yeah.
They're not copyrighted. You can't copyright it. People have been trying. Have you seen that?
I don't know if it works the same way for students doing like scientific research. That'd be unfortunate. Like,
Oh, yeah, no.
Because any research you do in the university
No.
or whatever is, it's not yours.
No.
Sucks. But that's just how it goes. Yeah, at least creativity-wise, you can be a bit more free.
Yes.
In the arts.
That's the best thing about being indie. You can do whatever you want.
It's true. Until you get somebody breathing down your neck about something that you now have to produce for them or whatever, if you get yourself into one of those jobs, in which case it seems kind of pointless to me. I don't know.
Yeah, you're always good just to cover yourself. And like I keep track of, Word does. I don't know if you're familiar with that. You should be being in your business. That it actually keeps track of how many hours you're writing and the project you're writing on and all of that. I keep all of it for years. I just put it on a hard drive.
Most of the writing software nowadays, like I just started using a new screenwriting software, and it's really good about telling me how long I've been working on a specific project, minute for minute, and it'll...
Well, yeah, that way you can track your hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's nice. It also has a blackout screen, so it won't let me access other parts of my computer for a set amount of time, so I can only focus on the script.
If you need that, that's a good
Sometimes
time.
I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
But what
not...
about if you're in the middle of an idea and you're like, I got to research something. You're just screwed? You have to wait? Oh.
See, if you could just circumvent the thing that's keeping you in line, is there really any point?
No.
Well, yeah, because you got your tablet, your phone, I got the other computer over there.
Thankfully, a lot of this stuff that I write, there doesn't need to be research. To a certain extent.
There should be. Well, you think of just about any story, there's something you might want to research or pull from.
Wow.
Yeah, because usually, I'm making, like this science fiction, I'm making up whatever I want, but I still might have, I had to create a spaceship. So I still had to do some research on flight, Stuff like that. Materials.
Like case in point, I've done, outside of just background research on the whole St. Nicholas backstory, I've done very little actual research on the Christmas movie that I've been working on for years. Because once you incorporate magic into it, the whole research element doesn't necessarily have to take
it's
place.
usually just little weird things. Like, I don't know if how your setting is, but say they're in college, and you might want to research what hours the classes start and end, and how many classes run per day, things like that, right?
But the difference with that is when I'm writing, most of the time it's just scripts. It's not
Yes, because
books,
you're doing film.
so I don't need to
I'm
be
doing
that
books.
specific. A class in the morning is just in the morning. Unless
Right.
it's very time sensitive, it's just a morning class. But
That's true.
that's a good point to say, welcome to A Funny Thing Happened on the Way, the podcast. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Eric.
And this is Theresa. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And before you start anything, I do also want to say that you can look us up on Spotify, Google Play Music,
iHeartRadio.
What it's called. Pardon?
iHeartRadio.
Yeah, iHeartRadio for some reason. We're
YouTube?
all over.
Yeah, you have a YouTube channel too?
We do have YouTube. We have Facebook. We are on podcast.com.
Everywhere.
And Apple Podcasts. We are everywhere. Creating such low numbers that we're not making waves on any of them. Except for Facebook.
It's not true.
Facebook does okay.
Facebook's doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how you get the most views from Facebook, eh?
Each social media platform has its pros and cons, but Facebook definitely seems to be the traffic. There's lots of people who use Facebook, lots of people who share things, like things, comment on things. Mm-hmm. It seems to be a more friendlier atmosphere for sharing things, it seems. So I think a lot of people might just watch a YouTube video and just leave after, not sort of leave any mark on it.
I can't remember the last time I commented on a YouTube video.
Me neither. I gave that up like 10 years ago.
Yeah. I don't comment. Unless it's, even if it's something I'm really passionate about, I just comment to myself.
I only comment on my own so I can leave my links.
Well, that's true. When Antea had her episode uploaded, I did reply to comments. I'll reply to comments. I won't make my own.
Oh, yeah.
I think I commented on that one too. I feel like I did, and you replied to me.
Oh.
I believe.
Yeah. Try to keep up with that kind of stuff.
Our ex-escort episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, as far as our radar goes, even if people make a vague mention of our podcast on some other
we comment.
page, just comment. Just try to promote.
Well, yeah, you should link it anyway, right? Yeah, for sure. That's what I do with
We make weird
writing.
waves sometimes. You said you were recognized once, right, Eric? Yeah, and
told it a million times.
And I've had small little blips.
Do authors get recognized at all in public? 'Cause, there's no face attached to a book necessarily.
Well, sometimes there is.
There could be, I guess.
But
some people put their face
yeah,
in
well,
this
and
one.
more so now with social media. I actually, because I work in retail, up until recently, people would come in the store and they would actually recognize me. And they'd be like, "Oh my God, you're that writer on Facebook?" And my doctor even, it was so random. Like, I went to the doctor one day and
That's
she was
a little
like,
personal. I don't know if I want
"Hey."
my doctor to know more about me.
No, actually, she's bought some of my books, and she's very supportive of the arts. She's an artist herself.
hopefully you charge this doctor full price.
I charge her double. Come
The doctor's rate.
on. That's right.
Yeah. No, it's interesting.
Yeah, so it's really cool.
I think if my timeline serves, if my memory serves right, when were you in chapters? When was the book in chapters the last time?
January 2017?
No. That was before I even knew you.
2018 then?
There we go. So it was actually well after we had this conversation. So maybe we were treading on waters again, or the same waters. But that, to me, is intriguing that Chapters really does support, to a certain extent, independent writers. What was that like? But keep it vague in case we have talked about it.
Yeah, no, I don't know that we did, but yeah, they're very highly supportive, which I thought it was going to be difficult to get in because it was just word of mouth. Someone said, you can have a signing at Chapters, and you just go online and you fill out a form and back and forth with the manager, because it is up to the store manager, 100%.
The nice thing about this is we can say photos of your book signing are on the screen now, because I have them.
That's right.
Very nice.
Yeah. And I actually was their top selling author for independent signing.
That's an impressive
I
one.
guess, I don't know if it's all the years that they've been doing it. I don't know how many years they've been doing it.
Even if it's in 2018, like if it's the top in 2018, that's still impressive.
She said, she came right up to me after when I went, because they actually, the problem with Chapters is that they get 50% of your sales. So I bring all my books at my cost, and then I price them whatever I want. I can make them $100 a book if I wanted to, but no one will buy them, right? Well, that's just it. I made them market value $12.99. So they get half and I get half. So technically, I'm not making any money on the books that I sell that day, but it's getting your face out there and having people come into Chapters and be like, oh, hey, you live here and you write. That's really cool, because people like that. And I sold 28 books that day, which I guess is their top. Like, I thought I did good, not great, but good. And I was like shocked that I was their top seller. I was impressed.
I don't know. I don't visit Chapters often. Usually for me, it's like holiday shopping or just getting a book for somebody else, because I usually can't justify buying myself one. But does it seem like it's still thriving in a way that maybe it was 15 years ago?
Anytime you go in Chapters, it is
full.
a mass of people.
But there is still a ton of people going into Chapters not buying books, because they do have their home.
A lot of them
own line of home accessories.
Oh yeah, but no, it's books. You see people at the cash registers with books. Yeah, people still love books. They'll never die.
See, for me, I transitioned to doing just the audiobook thing a little while ago. Well, a couple of years ago, and I stuck to it. I, for some reason, retain more. I can listen to it more than I can sit down and read necessarily. So
I have 2 books in audio as well.
Perfect. Well, then maybe those are the ones that I would give a try first, because
sounds good.
Because I can't justify sitting down to read anymore for some reason.
And it's a performance. Like a good audiobook is a good performance.
That too. Depends.
Yeah, because I was lucky and I got really good authors.
Oddly enough,
I can't speak.
I listen to a lot of nonfiction.
There we go. We got it right on the third time.
I listen to a lot of nonfiction, so if it's cut and dry, I actually don't even mind either. I'll still listen to it.
I've tried, and I find, like, I'm always thinking, so I just zone out, and I'll be listening to an audiobook, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I have no clue what happened, and I have to go back, like...
For me, it's the opposite. Books, I'll lose where I am, or I'll not understand something. I'll reread it 10 times, and then I'll realize the information I was looking for was in the 2 sentences ahead of where I'd gotten to. and just simple things like that, whereas the audiobook forces me to continue it. It all makes sense in the end, kind of thing.
Yeah, I only do audiobooks when I'm, like, walking the dog, right?
But that's useful. Now that's not wasted time anymore.
Exactly.
Now you're making use of the time.
Yeah. Audiobooks in the car driving all the time.
But I don't drive. I drive to work and home. That's like 7 minutes. Well, nowadays with traffic, 30.
Yeah, but 30 minutes every day, or an hour every day. It adds up.
Yeah.
That's plenty. Yeah.
Or
I
even
35 minutes now. I can knock out an audiobook a week.
It's surprising. I actually make more money on the audiobooks too, and I only have 2 of them than I do on any of my book sales. And I don't sell as many because they sell for a lot higher.
Well, you also don't have physical costs with the audiobooks once it's recorded.
Oh, yeah. But, well, it's the same with these. If I put it on Amazon, like it's on 15 different channels, it doesn't cost me anything if you download it.
It's true.
But I only make a few cents. Whereas with an audiobook, it costs you $15 and I make $8.
What's the process like getting somebody to voice record the book?
Cool.
What did you say?
It's a very cool process because we had talked about it at one point.
Yeah, it depends. There's different ways that you can do it. You can choose to, you put a segment of your book on, and then people can audition, and you can say, I'm willing to pay you, the lowest you're allowed to pay is $50 per reading hour. So that's like if the book takes 3 hours while you're listening to it, that's the reading hour. Not, it could take them 20 days to read it.
They better be good at the job, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, it only cost me a couple $100 American to get a narrator to read my book, and it's up to them if they don't want to accept that low. Like James Earl Jones is on there. He's not going to accept.
No, he would not.
He'll probably be like $3,000 an hour or something, if not more.
Even then, I mean, you almost need a production. You need somebody to help you because there's a lot of editing where you're going to take bits of the audio out because you got to redo certain lines. You got to start over, take breaks, things like that. So it's not just. I think
the people who do it are
quite
used to it. Yeah, because when the guy did my book Kept, I had a gentleman read that one, and he had the entire book back to me, the audio, within, I'm going to say 2 weeks tops.
It's not bad.
And so, like, it comes in chapters. So I'll listen to the chapter and make sure it's good. And I would notate okay, this spot, I feel like he didn't leave a long enough pause between sections because he just kept reading. So I'd notate the time. And then when I contacted him back, I said, everything is perfect, just these 3 or 4 times are a little fast. Can you slow them down? He went, thank you for notating the time. That's a huge help for him. Yep. He went back in, sent them back to me within 2 hours. That's
pretty quick. So people are definitely good at their game when they're recording audiobook voices.
Yeah.
It interests me. You think, I guess when people do it, it's their first read through of the book, so they're almost going to be just as surprised as the reader will. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I never quite thought about it like that.
Yeah, it was really an interesting process, and I fully enjoyed it. And I'd like to do some more.
Gaia. Finnegan's mouth pulled up into a grin. He drew in a deep breath of icy air and took a step forward. He felt free. In fact, he couldn't recall the last time he felt this free. A high wind gusted through the pines, echoed off the white peaks, and reverberated down the mountainside.
This is good reading.
His thick-soled Baffin boots cracked the wafer-thin top layer of snow. It gave
Baffin makes some good boots.
Before his foot sunk past his ankles into the soft down below.
I'm telling you, when
he
I don't just say boots.
He enjoyed the heft of his Remington 798 in his left hand as he curled his fingers around the wood stock.
I think we get the
his eyes.
Yeah, could you even understand that on the?
It's a little grating, but you can hear it.
But I do have audio samples that are free.
So which book was that?
That was Kept.
Okay, I'm gonna go through and get that one because whoever the heck's wearing Baffin boots is interesting to me because they make good boots. The warmest boots I have are Baffin boots.
Yeah, I mean I can't remember off the top of my head, but I mean I also detailed what rifle it is that he uses and little things like that.
That's interesting. Okay,
to give the story flavor, right?
I don't read enough fiction, so maybe that's why I haven't checked out any of your books, even though we talked about them the last time. Because I don't know. Fiction is something that if I start reading fiction, I tend to sequentially read like maybe 5 or 6 books in a row, but then I go back to whatever science books or philosophy or whatever
And that one is science fiction.
Okay.
But it is more a study in human psychology.
That's interesting too then.
Yeah.
So on the audiobook side, can you just submit your own, and not that you would do it, but if for some reason you decided that you wanted to do the audio for your book, you can just submit audio files?
Yeah, you can submit it yourself and it won't cost you a dime.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And who would be more familiar with the work than the writer, of course?
Yeah, the only thing is having the proper equipment like what you have.
Yes.
I mean, it'd be a great way if you wanted to do it for you to make some money, right?
I mean, if there was money in doing it, it would pretty much cost the amount you would have to pay somebody to buy the equipment to record just one book.
Yes.
Like, it wouldn't even be that bad. One of these microphones with I guess you don't got to go so fancy with the recording device, but maybe if you spent $400, you'd have enough to record forever, pretty much.
That's also assuming that she feels comfortable enough to record her own audio and release it to the world.
Yeah.
I actually did for Sudden Death on my phone, and I have it on YouTube, and it's free for anyone who wants to listen to it. I just literally sat there and read the book cover to cover.
Wow.
And but I found it hard because there's so many different characters, and like I'm not good at doing voices, right?
No.
Like I can only do so many inflections, and then
people do look for that in some cases, especially with fiction. I think the one that stands out most to me is Harry Potter. When I listened to the entire series, and that made a big difference. The way that certain characters had different voices, and there was lots of inflections.
Yeah, you have to have that. Yeah. I think to make it worth listening to, because I got in one of my free things a Dean Koontz book. I love Dean Koontz. I thought I'd listen to that on my car rides, and I could not stand the narrator. He never changed his tone. He's reading men and women, and it's like, this
First
is horrible.
audiobook I ever listened to was Lord of the Flies. That was in grade 9 because I could not get through the written book.
I forced myself to read the text of that one.
So the teacher gave me the audiobook, and it must have been like a digital version of an old school narrator because he just droned on and on. There was no inflection in the writing.
Yeah.
It was horrible. Not one of my favorite literary classics by any means.
I like it.
I like the concept. I like everything about it.
But I love the symbolism.
I found it very boring as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of symbolism, a lot of relatable things.
Maybe I should go back to it.
Young
Maybe
boys
I get the symbolism now. Yeah. Maybe I was just stupid in grade 9.
I'm sure I was. I didn't have to read it in grade 9. I think it was grade 11 for me for some reason.
What the hell am I doing? Maybe I would have enjoyed it more in grade 11.
Yeah. I wonder if Shakespeare is still the main go-to for high school students.
I believe so. I can't.
I'd have to ask around.
I love The Twelfth Night. It's my favorite one.
Macbeth was definitely up there, and Hamlet was pretty good too. Midsummer Night Dreams, so-so.
And grade 9 was also Romeo and Juliet for me. So.
Romeo and Juliet was grade 10 for me, which is also okay, but honestly, I don't know. Seeing all of those in actual theater is good. Reading a play is a very different thing, and you have to analyze so much more of it when you're in school too. Things you would never bother to question as a sane person looking just for some entertainment.
Okay, that brings up a subject which I figured I was going to wait until I'm famous before I tell everybody, but I'm going to tell you now.
I must be famous anyway.
Secret in your podcast. You better put that on there.
Okay.
Okay.
We get a clickbait title. We got to come up with one. Okay.
Okay, clickbait. I did not make it to grade 9. I quit school after grade 8.
To pursue what?
That's a secret alert to everybody, but I knew that. You
Well,
told me
well,
that.
yeah,
at
but
one
I mean,
point.
as an author, I wasn't gonna, tell the world that, hey, I'm an author, and guess what? I have no education.
I'm sure that there are
There
many
are
others
probably
like
a
you.
lot of others as well, yes. But
The biggest question is, I guess, what did you go to pursue instead of school?
I just didn't like rules. I didn't like being told what to do.
Yeah, being a rebel's
I
a good
still
thing.
don't.
So what did you did you start working early or?
Well, I thought I could quit school and get a job, but
Yeah.
alas, I could not. I was only 14. So so I basically took off. I left my family home and kind of ventured out with my boyfriend and did a whole lot of nothing. I didn't get my first job till I was 17. I'm gonna say I worked at Wendy's.
It's 3 years of nothing.
3 years of nothing.
What'd you do in those 3 years? Where'd you go?
The back streets. No, I'm just kidding.
The back streets in Niagara?
No, I'm actually from BC.
Okay.
So I lived in Prince George. And then my parents, even when I was, I think, 18, they moved all the way here to Ontario, and I was still out there by myself. Did not want to come here.
No.
Yeah. Okay, we won't get into that because all the Niagara people will hate me. I'm sorry.
I think there's a weird thing around this region where anybody that's born, especially St. Catharines, but many of the cities in the region, they want to leave. They think it's terrible. But I
terrible.
come from somewhere else and I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind it either.
The weather,
Yeah, but
particularly.
I stay for the weather.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm only here for the weather. As soon as I have enough money, I'm gone. Because then I can live where I want to live and fly to nice weather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Where do you want to live?
I want to go back to the mountains.
Which is, I mean, I've never been there, but
Honestly,
I'm sure it's
you know what? You can sling
nice
coffee all
aesthetic.
day if you're looking at a mountain. You really don't care.
Doesn't matter what you're
It
doing.
doesn't
too
matter
much.
what you do.
And I mean, writing is great because you can do that anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I can just take it with me.
I don't know if, given the option, where I would live. See, the trouble with Canada is there really nowhere tropical or
We talked about
super
that.
exotic.
Canada should buy a tropical island.
It's true. If Canada just bought some tropical
Yeah.
island somewhere,
That'd be a good idea. And
you
then
could
all the
live
tourists
there,
will go there.
being Canadian citizens.
get
yeah.
health care,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, even like, for people who can't cross the border or whatever, you can have your vacation
Yes.
still.
We should buy an island in the tropics.
Well, you call up the government and get them on that right now.
Perfect.
Well, we already have a video out there saying that they should, and they haven't returned our phone calls, so it's a problem.
I agree.
Still working on it.
Or when I'm a bazillionaire, I'll do it, and you're welcome to come to my island.
Fantastic.
If you're a bazillionaire,
Yeah.
you definitely are going to need a good accountant. Because,
Is that a tie into something?
no, I'm just saying, if you're walking around saying I'm a bazillionaire, you're going to end up in the nut house.
Probably.
A bazillion.
Weird
Some people have too much money.
That's true.
side fact about money. I hear that they're taking all of the $1, $2, $1,000, and a couple other bills out of circulation. So if you have a $1,000 bill, spend it.
I was going to say, there aren't any more $1 and $2 bills.
Apparently, you can still spend them. I know they're not in production.
Oh,
but-
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but soon
If you
enough.
have
no.
them, you can still spend them.
Yep. So
I do not have any. I'd love to see $1,000 bill in my possession. Wouldn't that be nice to find on the street?
it would be
Like
great.
somebody thinks they're fake and
I've been carrying $1 million bill around with me for
Oh, I have $1 million bill.
Years.
Hasn't
Well,
helped
you know,
me gain wealth.
but they say if you carry it around with you, it will happen. Well, not yet.
That's supposed to be like money attracts more money or
That's
something.
right.
That's what the churches want you to think.
That's what they told me in religion class.
That's,
Like,
that's what you need to do is open a church.
That's true.
A
Yes.
mega church. I heard that there's some church in the United States that now has its own police force. Like, not just security, but like
Is
a
Scientology?
police force. No.
I could see that.
Surprisingly not. Although it'd be like the secret police at that point. You'd have to be like, they'd all be undercover, watching it for any of their members to stray out of line.
Well, John Oliver made fun of the megachurch thing and created his own religion. And he's like, it was disturbingly easy to actually set up a church. And they made fun of everything. I forget exactly what they called it, but it was a joke, but they made fun of the fact that once you own a church like that, you start asking for money, and people sent them, they call it seeds, right?
Yeah.
And all the religious people on TV say, send us seed money and you'll get it back. So they got a lot of money. They also got seeds, and they got a lot of semen.
What?
Why?
Human seed.
I guess.
God.
But why?
I don't know. I didn't send it to them.
Who the heck sits there like, wow, I'm going to put this in this bottle and I'm going to send it through
To
the
the
mail
church.
to the church? Because they want it, apparently.
I don't know who would think of that. It wasn't me.
How did we get on this topic?
I don't know.
The church.
The church.
The church.
There you
I'm
go.
going to start my own church. That's
Yeah.
it.
What would your church be about?
My church would be about freedom and not following any rules. So you wouldn't have
So
to show up.
the Church of Anarchy? Wow.
Yeah, but that has rules too.
Does it?
Church of Chaos, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, so the problem is if nobody shows up, what are they paying into? Because you need to.
They're paying into freedom. You want to do what you want? You
If
pay
you have
me.
to
You do what
pay
you
to-
want.
If you have to pay to be free,
Then it's not
it's
freedom.
not freedom. It's a
And then it's all going to
paradox.
fall
Well,
on
nothing,
its face.
nothing ever works.
The only
right?
nice thing about it is it's all tax exempt.
Well, exactly. That's why.
So you can do charitable work, but nobody will show up because they don't have to
That's
because they're
right.
free.
Exactly.
So I feel like that would probably fail.
Although crazier things have been done.
I feel like that was done in a movie or.
There's the Church of Atheism. So, I mean, if people are going to gather around and talk about what they don't believe in, then I think a Church of Freedom could work.
It's true. It's possible.
Yeah. The only thing is you can't have a set time because then, I don't want to go when you tell me to go. That's the problem.
It's true. So you, as the leader of this new church, can just freely sit in the church waiting for people to show up at whatever time.
No, I'll do it online.
Well, there
That
you go.
way you can just pop in whenever you want.
Online only religions.
Yeah.
That's got to be a
That's
thing.
the thing of the future. Man, my grandmother used to sit around at the TV all the time waiting for mass or whatever. But like, if you could just, take a little snippet of
stream the
religion,
Sunday mass.
stream your mass whenever you want.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be Sunday Mass, would it?
But you could record it on
That's
Sunday at the very
organized,
least.
right? My Tilsonburg church does streaming of their masses. So
Well, they stream funerals now, so why not?
I know it's a good business. It's a horribly morbid business. But if anybody asked me to record a funeral, I wouldn't be able to say no.
No. It's kind of an accessibility thing.
Well,
right?
yeah, it's really for
Like,
to
know,
get
so-
the people who can't make it from around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can add sappy music at the right time and just really punch in that eulogy.
Make a dramatic experience of
Yeah.
it. Not that it already is.
Dun.
Well, not that. More like
The body falls out of the casket.
Oh, what's
Okay,
next? Are you
visual
gonna get a
effects.
DJ or something, and then like a light show?
I saw that there was a woman that was doing professional, like she would be your bridesmaid. Like I realize it's a plot of a movie, but she was a professional bridesmaid, but she would also show up at other events, including funerals. So you could rent a bunch of people to come mourn your funeral if you felt like the real people weren't.
Isn't that kind of just like having an actress, renting an actress?
Pretty
or,
much.
Or an escort, depending how you want to look at it.
So I wouldn't need an escort when I'm dead.
No. I'm trying to think of this. A professional bridesmaid. That could be like somebody that's almost a cheerleader at that point.
Yeah.
To get everybody else to have fun.
Well, you get a bridesmaid who knows all the good things. You know the music to listen to.
Well, wasn't that The Best Man, the movie? It was
something
actually
like
met with
that.
Kevin
It had
Hart.
Josh Gad and Kevin Hart.
Yeah, Kevin Hart.
But I can't remember the name. Might have been the best man, or I can't remember.
I feel like it was.
But Kevin
yeah.
Hart was a professional best man.
Yeah.
So, thankfully, he got kind of hairy here or there, but thankfully I know I won't have to hire a fake wedding party for my wedding. I have enough friends to go around.
Oh no.
Wrecking the joint.
Dropping the tequila.
The coffee tequila.
Why is it clear? You'd think if it was going to be coffee flavored in any way.
Oh, no, wait a second. That's not the coffee tequila. Whatever. Multiple different kinds of tequila. So, going back, I know a thing about you. Actually, I know many things about you, but some of them we can't talk about.
I was to say, don't tell anyone.
These
Yeah.
are very pointed.
There's a movie, which we talked about, that is coming out based on an adaptation of a short film,
Yes.
short book, novel that you wrote. It's,
Yes.
it's a short film based on a novel that you wrote.
It's actually a 15-minute film.
Short film.
It's a short film.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there's a different name for it. You're the film people, not me.
Um,
Because a book, it's a novella, novel.
basically anything
Short
under
story.
45 minutes is considered a short film. There's a weird in between 40 and 75 minutes where it can be considered a film, but the only time it can be considered a feature film is once it hits 75 minutes plus.
Okay.
That's why there's no 60-minute movies in theaters. Just fun, interesting fact.
Sure.
What was it like writing the script? Adapting your book into a script? Adapting parts of your book
Yeah.
into a script?
Basically, I just took the main character, the demon of technology, and I wrote another, kind of like a spin-off, more really than an adaptation, because I have a lot of characters in my book, and this, because it's a short film, it could only have a set number of characters. So I wrote it a lot shorter, and I had never written a film before, so I Googled how to do it, and I did it, and I sent it to... I know it wasn't perfect, obviously, because I've never done it before. I sent it to Lisa, and she absolutely loved it. It needed a few tweaks that I let them handle with the actors while they were, in character and working on it and deciding what worked and what didn't work. I said, please go ahead. You have full license to change whatever you need to change to make it fit. And they went with it. It was fun.
So the writing was fun.
Right.
But I also know that you are not a fan of the actual filmmaking process.
No, I find it very boring.
Why? Let's talk about that.
Because you stand around for hours and do nothing.
Yes, that's the worst part of it. But
Yes.
were you on set while they were filming some?
I was.
Did you?
Yeah.
Because I've been telling Eric and Tila, and I've told you countless times, my favorite part, the bug biting thing, the thing that makes it addicting, the heroine of filmmaking.
Heroin.
Is watching people perform what you have written.
Yes.
Was that not fun?
I wanted to be there for the main scene when they have, when they exorcise the demon. That part I wanted to be there for. And unfortunately, when it happened, I couldn't make it. So, but I got to see it in post-production, like the whole thing, front to back. And it was awesome. Like, I got chills at that part because I knew that was like the most intense moment. And that was awesome. And I could totally see that, like, wanting to be there and watch all that happen. But the rest of it, like, watch her go around and around with the scooter 3,000 times is
Yes,
like, I'm ready to lie down and have a nap now.
some stuff can get boring. There's a lot of small shots in film production of somebody, say, picking up a
Yes,
remote that
over and over again.
it sucks to have to sit through, but they're all integral parts of
Yeah.
the film production. Like your brother with the screwdriver having to film an insert. We shot
Filmed the scene where a character basically takes the screws out of a chair that's holding somebody up. They've fallen asleep in the chair. And
Right.
goes up and does it and then walks away and the chair falls over.
Yeah.
But we had to film that so many times to get so many times to get the scene right. Then you have to do the close-up shot of the screwdriver
Yeah.
and so many little intricate details.
But he didn't understand why we were just getting a single shot of him pulling the screwdriver out of the cabinet. But it's getting that shot
That
to
exact-
establish the screwdriver so that way you can see what it is before you go to a wider shot, which can be boring, but it all just melts together into this beautiful wonderful cinematic project.
I'd still rather write it and then just watch it after.
I just like it all.
I'm because I have written as well a couple of shorts for Amazon Prime, which I can't tell you anything about them right now because I've signed a contract, but it's just not my thing. Like, because I'm used to writing a novel where you do everything you're describing, you know, your scenes and what's happening behind the scenes and what's going on in people's minds. And when you're doing scripts, you're really just doing dialogue with little bits of setup. And I don't know how to do that because you read part of one of mine, right? And
Yep.
And you were saying like you have way too much hair or whatever because
you want to describe it, I suppose.
It's just what I'm used to, yeah.
If you know ahead of time that you are going to be doing something after the fact, like if you are going to be involved in the physical creative process, so the directing or whatnot, adding more details is very good, but most of the time setting the scene, saying, you know, they're sitting in a room that's sparsely decorated with ugly pink curtains or something or other.
Right.
Like setting the scene is fine,
Yeah.
but to go into the person's psyche, that's not going to do
Well, you
anything
can't, no.
because they have to show it on camera
Yeah, exactly.
anyways.
Yeah, and it's getting kind of like that reverse mindset that I find I had a hard time with.
Some of the first projects you do in film school are shooting films with no dialogue, and it's purely the emotions of back and forth of people to that way at least show instead of telling, which is very important but very hard to do. It's one of the hardest things.
Yeah, well, and I left all that fun stuff up to them. That's what I mean. That's why I gave her creative license because I'd never done it before, and I was like, please go ahead, do whatever you need to do to make it good. It's all ready to go. It's going to be in the, I don't know which film festival it is in Hamilton in July.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Are you going?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's good. That's an interesting side of things that I haven't experienced in school, the actual film fest circuit and whatnot. I've been to TIFF before, which is cool. Not for anything that I produce, so it's less of a business thing and more of just a look at the size and scope of everything. But to go to a film festival to see a movie that you've worked on is really cool, providing that you don't get stuck in the film festival's bottom rung and your movie premieres at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there are 24-hour film fests, and if your movie premieres after midnight, you're filler. And that's depressing. So why even go? Because it's just going to be you and the cast.
I'm just excited to see it on screen.
Course.
I don't even care. It's my first one, right? So.
Have you haven't seen the entire thing? Is that going to be the first time you've seen it?
I've seen it in the entirety, but without the special effects or the sound effects or any of that. It was just, this is the first cut, and this is
so what did it look
like
like without the special effects? Was it good?
I liked it, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of old school directors that always used to, before films were digital, you'd have to lock your film without any of the effects, and the directors would say, if the movie looks good and cool without the effects, I can only imagine what it's going to look like with them.
Yeah,
but if
that's kind of where
the movie
I'm
looks
at.
lame without the effects, they're only going to help so much.
Yeah, no, they have some really good little, like you said, like the hand taking the like little scenes like that really catch your eye and make you go, oh, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with this.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Be exciting to see eventually. I know with film festivals you can't. They like to have an exclusive right.
Yeah, for a while.
And everything, so you'll have to get us the dates, and if I'm free, I'd come, but I'll have to wait till there's a DVD or Blu-ray release.
Yeah.
I'll hold out for Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.
All that resolution counts.
That does, right? If it was shot, might as well.
Yeah. Might as well get the full experience.
Yeah.
I do, without getting into spoiler territory or whatever, the movie is about a digital demon, right? Good way of explaining it.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered, and I haven't pressed, but I might as well press. Would you consider that this is the release poster of the movie?
Yeah.
When I look at this,
Yes.
I think of a movie that's premiering at Sundance that has absolutely nothing to do with a digital demon. Is this poster a good representation of what we're going to be seeing in the movie? Is there a reason as to why it's like, do you know?
Well,
Like it's just two people laying side by side.
they're not laying, they're standing. Maybe
Yeah.
because,
Okay, standing.
Yeah.
Still. Is there something I'm missing? Is there a demon in there?
no, it's not that obvious.
It's a good photograph, but I see what
Yeah.
you're saying about not really
I
telling
think
anything.
it's, they're supposed to be like looking at either a phone or a computer, whatever, an iPad, like
They
some
got
kind of a
something
screen.
reflecting in their eye, that's
And
for sure.
You know, they're now frightened because there's a demon coming, and it's like a shock.
I was always just curious, and I wanted to ask, but now was the appropriate time to ask, because... are you going to write more? Is there going to be a sequel? You going to do anything like that? You're going to write more scripts if people want you to?
I do write the scripts because I get paid, so that's why I write them.
That's good.
Yeah, because that's not obviously my passion, but right now no one's paying me to write them a book, so
Well, it keeps the options open
Yeah.
for more little
yeah.
short films.
Every little bit helps because I do have to pay my own editors and they're expensive.
I think one of the best and worst things in the film industry is the fact that camera equipment has become so... I did it again. I can stop touching this poster. Camera equipment has become so affordable that there's this amazing movement of short films that exist that look better than ever possible years ago.
Yeah,
And every short film that exists obviously needs a writer. And since you consider yourself to be an indie author, being an indie filmmaker or an indie film screenwriter is perfect.
yeah, it's just par for the course.
And the way it's going, there is no shortage of film locations. Like Hamilton is just gearing up for a new film production house, and Toronto will eventually have a fully produced Netflix hub plus everything else. So it's a good time to be around, so I'm told. So, are you working on any other books that you can or can't talk about?
Books, always I can talk about books because they're my own. I have written a serial killer novel that's set in Toronto, and I use actual Toronto locations. One of which is, because I can't give away the plot, but I actually contacted the location and asked if I could use their name because they are privately owned, and kind of use liberties with the interior and stuff like that, and they approved. Of course, they want a copy when it's done. And that one is taking longer because I have it in line editing right now. So someone is actually literally reading every single sentence to check, make sure it's good and it flows with the rest of the book and all that stuff, because I want to send it to an agent to get a publisher, a Canadian publisher for that one because it's set in Toronto. So I think that's...
So then you're exiting the indie world because that's not indie.
No, but the rest are still indie. I mean, hey, if I happen to be picked up and, get options where people are going to actually pay me to write, well, then I'll take that because then I don't have to go to work anymore because I love doing this. It's not like work. I go home after my day job and spend 4 hours writing, and I love it.
Do you know any... It's been a long time since I've seriously sat down to think about potentially selling a book. Do you think it takes one moderately successful Canadian book to have a publisher pay you to write? Like where I don't know where the advances would come in. Do you need a few good hits under your belt before they give you an
only
advance?
need one. I mean, if you look at 50 Shades of Grey is always the best example. Everyone knows it. That was one book that launched her career.
Well, yes, and then Harry Potter, of course.
Well, Harry Potter, yeah, but that's...
Although there's many stories about how hard that was to get published.
Yes.
Yeah, and again, they had like tricks that they did, and you know, a lot of that came out after, but she's already rich, so who cares? And I'm not doing that, right? Because it's obvious what I've written. It's a serial killer novel and it's set in Toronto, and I'm hoping that that'll be my stepping stone. But in the meantime, I have a novella right now called I just recently changed the name. It's about a zombie boys club.
Sorry, zombies?
A zombie boys club.
Yeah.
So the way that I've written this one is because I am sick to death of zombies. I'm going to be the first one to say it. I don't even care. I hate zombies. They're boring. Like, everyone's doing it and everyone's on the bandwagon for some reason. So these boys are actually, they say, well, zombies aren't ever going to really happen, right? Like, everyone knows it's never, ever going to happen. So they decide to start scaring people with scary masks on, and it turns into a little bit of torture and eventually murder, and it gets a little bit hairy. So that novella is in editing right now, and that I'll be publishing myself within a month or so. And I've also started writing a new young adult kind of romance novel about a gargoyle.
A gargoyle?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I have that too. So I'm always doing something.
That's cool.
And I'm in anthologies like crazy. Like, I write short stories every day or two and submit them everywhere I can.
I had a question about the zombie.
The zombie boy. Why can't I remember the title?
Zombie Boys
I'm
Club?
getting old. Initially, it was called the Zombie Boys Club, which is why that is what stuck in my head. The zombie effect. Thank you. That's what it's called, the zombie effect. Because it's the effect that the zombie society has on our children today.
I think zombies are weird because they have, I mean, over the course of like cinema years and whatnot, they've had their dips and ups in popularity, and now there's another zombie movie with Bill Murray and...
Yeah, Zombieland 2.
Well, no, there's another.
There's another one.
Yeah, it's just in the... I don't know if it's out yet. I forget exactly... Oh, The Dead Don't Die or something like that.
Okay.
But it's like it's a zombie independent type movie. Like, it's a very sarcastic movie, which I like.
I like that
sarcasm.
too, yeah. I like comedy, so I'll watch, even zombies, I'll watch zombie comedy.
But I think in general, with most things, there's the height of the popularity, then it dies down, and then there's people saying, oh, we're tired of zombies, and they write stuff about how they're tired of zombie stuff. And then it may disappear for a little bit, but then it'll come back.
Yeah, but it's been ongoing for how long? Like, when did Walking Dead start? That was
2008.
10 years ago? Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
It's done now.
And I dipped off about the end of season 2 because I had enough of it.
Yeah, I watched through season 1 and thought, eh. And then,
I like season 1. I thought it was interesting.
And now it's just a spin-off craze. Like, they have the Fear the Walking Dead, which is the
and they're all just like dramas.
But you of all
and
people,
boring.
like, you were a writer, you were a reviewer of Z Nation. So
I love Z Nation, but it was totally like tongue-in-cheek comedy, gore. I love that.
Z Nation, you know, the Asylum, Sharknado, and whatnot.
Yep.
They produced a TV show for Sci-Fi, right?
Yeah.
Called Z Nation, and it was like low budget, The Walking Dead-esque. I know that's so some of the humor and cheese of Sharknado on a weekly televised series.
Yeah, and I loved it.
It's done now, though, right?
Yeah, they only did 5 seasons.
Which is crazy.
And I interviewed Carl Schaefer,
I interviewed one
creator.
of the producers, one of the owners of the Asylum for a thesis paper back in school.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did an interview with one of the stars, too.
That's cool.
So, like, I was really... Because I was writing for 1428.elm.com. So I had to, produce something every week. And that's what I had gone with. And then I did Santa Clarita Diet as well, which is Drew Barrymore.
Yep, and it's done too.
She's zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it was funny, and I like funny, so.
Do you ever see yourself writing some sort of schlocky, like Z Nation or Sharknado type thing, do you think you could ever go into the cheese, like the super cheese?
I wish I could. I would love to.
I tried. It's really
It's
hard
hard.
to go super cheesy.
You know what? It's harder than anything else.
I did
Really?
water raptors.
Water raptors?
Aquatic velociraptor?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the whole premise was there's this online video of the video is called Shark Pool. I'm sure you've seen it, but the whole premise of this movie trailer, it's a fake movie, is there's a shark in the pool and people keep dying, and then there's the one voice of reason. He's like, nobody has to die, just stay out of the pool.
Don't get in the pool.
And I thought, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So what if you did a movie where midway through they're water-based animals, just get out of the water. So they get out of the water, but then they find out that they're also land-based animals. So there's that moment where everybody thinks they're fine and then they're not. I got through like 10 pages before it just became too schlock. Like, I've watched a lot of bad movies.
Yeah.
I watch...
You kind of have to have a balance, right? It can't just be all schlock all the time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, like Spaceballs, like how does he pull it off? It's amazing,
Well,
right?
that's
is
parody, right? Like,
Yep.
that's farcical
but
parody
still.
and whatnot.
At least you have something to base it off of for that.
Stuff like that, I find parody is at its best. Do you ever see those really crappy, like, disaster movie or not?
Yes. Not another teen movie.
Not another
those
teen
things.
movie,
Yeah.
date movie and whatnot.
Yeah.
The problem with those movies is a lot of them were parodies of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you make fun of something that's trying to be funny or something that was acclaimed as funny, that's hard. Because you're taking a joke, changing the joke to make it fit your narrative, and it doesn't always work.
The only ones that worked well were the Scary Movie.
Because
Those are good.
they were parodies
good.
of things that weren't comedy necessarily, right? Like, there's always some sort of comedic elements in most horror movies, but they weren't just straight up comedies.
Yeah.
But say Date Movie, one of the major parodies was Meet the Fockers. Comedy.
Yeah.
So you're just taking a joke, changing the joke, making it
Yeah,
shittier.
but you're pushing it further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily making it funnier. But then you get a movie like, well, Scary Movie, or like we said, Spaceballs, which is a parody of, Star Wars. Star Wars really isn't a comedy. There might be subtle, light, humorous moments.
Yeah.
But once you take the serious moments of the movie and then you add the jokes, that's where it's better. If you want to watch a funny movie based off of somebody meeting his parents, just go watch Meet the Parents. Don't watch a parody about Meet the Parents.
Yeah, but the point is to be as dumb as you possibly can,
And
right?
they were horrible.
They were horrible.
Although
They
I
were-
learned something. There was a movie that came out in 2010 called Vampires Suck. And
Yes.
it was a send-up of Twilight,
Yeah, Twilight.
and everything else.
Yeah.
And through whatever weird situation I got to, either it was through IMDb, I can't remember, but I got to see an advanced screening of the movie, which is like being told you get to see an advanced dog turd. Like, but I watched it.
How do you see
Wait,
advanced dog turd?
did you expect much going into it?
No, because it was by the same people that did Date Movie and Epic Movie and Disaster Movie and all of that stupid shit. And I watched it and I thought, this isn't as bad as it was, or as I was thinking, but it was just straight parody of Twilight. There was no real pop culture references except for Twilight. And it was better than I expected. And then for some reason, I got roped into taking a girl that I was seeing to the theatrical release of the movie.
Oh, like the day,
Like,
you had seen it already.
yeah, I'd seen it already. So I'm like, at least it wasn't horrible. And I'm watching it like, those fuckers changed it. So I did some research. And
Yeah.
the movie that I saw was the base. They knew what they were going to put in, and then A month before the movie came out, because these are really cheaply made movies,
Yeah.
they took everything that was pop culture, shot scenes around Amy Winehouse dying and stuff like that, and just put it into the movie and added on an extra 10 minutes of stupid pop culture jokes. Like, and they made it worse because of it.
Wow.
So the movie that I saw was passable, and then they
Ruined it.
And made it worse.
Okay, well, it's just like, and I know you hate this reference because we've had this conversation
God.
before.
Okay.
The new Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you watch the extended version, it is hilarious. They have the best jokes in the extended version that, for whatever reason, they either completely cut out or completely changed, like reworded them to be like brand cereal. Like, it's, I don't even understand why they would do that. I watched the extended version like, I swear, 1,000 times.
That sounds like a good idea, actually, because I watched the regular version and I didn't find it.
Sucked. I didn't like it at all.
It wasn't as bad as a lot of people made it out
That
to
was
be.
a movie that just pissed everybody
Yeah,
off.
like as something on its own merit, it was okay.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll give the
But
extended
yeah, if
version
you watch
a
the
try.
extended version, like, it's those moments, those jokes that really make the show. Because I'll be watching it, like, if for whatever reason, if it comes on Netflix and it's on, and I know it word by word now. So I'll be saying it, and then it's like, oh wait, no, okay, they're not saying what I'm saying because it's the regular version on Netflix.
Well, a lot of times extended versions for stuff like that, like you get director's cuts on epic movies like Lord of the Rings or King Kong.
yeah.
But the extended versions
that's
for
rude.
comedies typically are the director's original vision.
I don't even understand why they would change it.
Pacing, timing, the movie
But those
studio
were the best
meddling.
timed moments.
Yeah, but a lot of times movie studios have their hands really deep and they say, no, we like it this way because we're going to do it like this. But they try to be maybe a little bit more PC with some of the jokes, and it ends up screwing up the franchise so much so that now they're just like, fuck it, and they're going to do Ghostbusters with Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd.
Which, I mean, yeah.
Which is what they should have done anyway.
Yeah, but they really did a good job. It gets a bad rap.
Other movies, I saw Toy Story 4 last night.
Did you?
Yes.
Was it
Meaning
good?
to
It looks
see
good.
that.
It was surprisingly good. I heard that it was good.
Is it a little darker?
It is a lot darker.
Okay, good. Because I
Surprisingly
just
dark.
from the little clips that I've
jumped
seen.
a few times. There
That's
are
awesome.
horror
I'm
elements
excited.
in that movie that made me jump. But the themes of the movie are surprisingly well developed for a fourth film, right? Like when you look at the first three, they had a good
But it was a
arc.
long space between, right? Like,
Yeah.
how long has it been? 10 years?
9.
Since.
Toy Story 3.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2010.
Time
Yeah.
has gone by way too quickly.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, there was a
problem.
huge space between 2 and 3, though,
Yeah,
as well.
1999
Yeah.
to 2010
Yeah.
Yeah.
was between 2 and 3.
Yeah, because I don't think I liked 3.
3 was the best one. It wrapped everything up.
It probably should have been the end.
Can't remember. I
It should've
didn't
been
like
the
it
end.
when they introduced the girl
That was
cowboy.
2.
That
Okay,
was 2.
That's the one I didn't like then.
I watched
don't
that
even
as a
remember
kid,
three.
so I thought it was okay. I guess.
Yeah, I'm old.
The interesting thing about Toy Story 4 is if you look at 1 through 3, it's a good trilogy. It's one of the best kind of like cinematic trilogies out there for kind of family-friendly character development. And the fourth one just seems like it could have, if it was a book series, the fourth one might have been an epilogue that was extended. Like, I won't spoil it because there's things that happen that you wouldn't expect to happen, which is weird to say when you're talking about Toy Story.
That was good. That's good, though.
But it takes elements from the third one, throws them on their head just a little bit more so than you were expecting, and the ramifications of some characters' choices.
There's like some deep existentialism
There's a
about
ton of
throwing away-
existentialism in this movie.
about throwing away toys like they're trash
And, well, that's the whole thing. In the movie, the girl character makes a toy out of a spork.
Yeah.
And
Oh, is that what that weird looking thing is?
and the spork becomes alive, and he's all like, I am trash.
Right.
And then he finds out that he's a toy, and he starts to get his It's really weird. Like, it's the best fourth movie of a series possible, I think. And I don't think they should do any more, but if they do, for whatever reason, I'm sure it'll be good. They seem to really care about because the Toy Story is the one that started Pixar. That's the one that really kicked it all off. And they do the characters justice. It was very well done, very dark in some areas, and I forget what my original point was.
Yeah, that sounds like a good summary of the movie.
I don't know either.
Probably gonna go watch it.
I saw it at the drive-in. My first
Oh, yeah?
drive-in movie.
In Thorold or
Yeah.
Fonthill?
Your first drive-in movie.
The Division.
Yeah.
Holy.
Did you watch 2 movies?
Yeah.
You were
What?
abused as a child, weren't you?
I'm
sorry, I just say that
There's no
'cause
drive-in theaters near Tilsonburg.
It was big for us to, Friday night, get in the car and go to the drive-in.
I have a friend, and he's the only one that says this, so whatever. But he says, when I talk about not going to drive-in theaters or whatever, and not really liking them, he's like, "What? That's like a country thing." He's talking about like that's like the country thing to do if you grew up in the country or you're a country person. And I thought it was the weirdest thing ever. I'm like, that's
That
like
is weird
Isn't that the
because-
city person? Because
It's not like they have drive-ins in the middle of nowhere.
which
Which is where I grew up.
Yeah.
But perhaps it was in a farmer's field, but it was outside of Toronto or whatever, and
Right,
we would drive out there and watch a movie or something. And it's just a cheap excuse not to air condition a building, pretty much. Just sit
But
in your car.
the experience was cool. I thought. I'll go back. It was kind of retro. Like the announcement at the beginning was obvious. It has been the announcement for years, where they make it seem retro. The intermission video is cool. The double screening. I mean, last night it was Toy Story 4 and Aladdin, which I wanted to see both. Toy Story 4 was immensely
Aladdin
better
good?
than
I haven't
Aladdin.
heard.
Aladdin was good, but the animated movie was better. They changed certain things that they probably shouldn't have, but Will Smith made a great genie.
Good, I
People were
wanna see
pissed about that, but he did very well.
What, a
All
black
of-
guy can't be blue? What the hell?
All of the art looks really silly, to be honest. But I, saw the pictures when people were freaking out about it. So maybe,
it
maybe
works.
it's not bad.
It works
I can see Will Smith doing a
in
good
a
job.
non-picture, because when you're taking picture of a digital character, sometimes they don't look that great, but when he's moving around and flying, he's funny. The only other person that could have, outside of Robin Williams,
I was going to say
waiting
Ron
for that.
Williams.
if the only other live person that I think would have made a really good genie,
Jimmy Fallon?
Gabriel Iglesias.
That would be so interesting.
True. Did you see he's now in a series?
Yeah, he's on a Netflix
Yes,
sitcom.
I just saw it yesterday.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch
what
it. The
the hell?
trailer made it
I
look really good.
started watching, but I'm not big on kids, so... Okay, I shouldn't say
So
that.
yeah,
Everybody
I guess a
stories.
sitcom about
But,
a
you know,
teacher probably doesn't do it for you.
Yeah, that's the problem. Because I was watching him and I liked him and he was funny, and then these kids started talking, and I'm like, okay, I'm done.
I've been hoping he would get back into sitcoms for a long time, and this one, Netflix gave him a fuck ton of money to do it, but I wish it was maybe a little bit more of a standard sitcom, less about the kids, more about family.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I like the classics.
Or even like, with him, a single guy.
Yeah.
Where he's like the roommate of a family kind
Yeah.
of situation.
there
That'd be
could have
perfect.
been stuff
Like so many. And who knows, stuff might come out now that he's into that.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, Aladdin was good. I'm looking forward to The Lion King. I think The Lion
I didn't even know they were doing it again.
Yes. So it's all CG animated. Comes out in August or July. And my prediction, I have a bet running with Luke. The first one
Yeah, I wanted.
came out in 94.
Yeah.
And it made $1 billion in 94. Adjusted. Made $1 billion. Lion King this year is going to make $2 billion. Avengers just did it. Avengers surpassed $2 billion. But given the fact that how well loved The Lion King is,
Yeah, it
the
could.
cast,
It could be bigger.
Yeah.
like
Well, yeah, plus you're going to get the new generation
Yep.
and the old generation.
Bunch of kids.
they have James
Yeah.
Earl Jones as Mufasa, so they already have beat out a ton of the other movies.
But they scrapped every other voice actor.
Yes, they did. The one that I was really sad about, I don't
Wait a
mind.
minute.
All of the
It doesn't
everybody's
matter?
everybody's still alive, but they just scrapped them.
No, I know they did.
Well,
but-
yeah, because they're all grown up, so it doesn't matter. You wouldn't recognize their voice anyway.
Well, Matthew Broderick's voice really hasn't changed all that much, and he was Simba. So he could have did it, but he's not as marketable now, and that's the problem. And you know whose fault that is? I read an essay,
Sarah Jessica Parker's.
well, Matthew
That's his
Broderick,
wife.
yes. No, it's actually Aladdin's fault with Robin Williams is a genie as to why Disney is now so big into their celebrity casting. Because all the original Disney movies, up until basically Aladdin, you had good voice actors, not celebrities, good voice actors. Then after Robin Williams knocked it out of the park with the genie, people started to think, okay, so we can get other celebrities to do the voices, and it will draw people in. It will draw adults in because they know the celebrity. And here we are with The Lion King, with Donald Glover is Simba, Beyonce is Nala. Like, it's a real star-studded cast.
So they're trying to draw names.
I mean, I'd like to see those performances, to be honest, but
the only one that I'm really sad, because they got James Earl Jones back as the dad, which is perfect. It'd be cool if they got like Samuel L. Jackson to replace him.
That'd be good too. Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It's a circle of motherfucking life. But the original voice actor who played Pumbaa was the most
amazing.
Devoted voice actor. So everybody else, Nathan Lane, Matthew Broderick, everybody, after the original movie, they did come back to do the direct-to-DVD sequels, but Pumbaa, and his name is Ernie Sambella or something like that. He is the only one that said, I love this character so much, I'm going to do him on the TV show. You can pay me the minimum scale to do him on the TV show. I can do him in all the video games. He's
toys.
My character, and I will do it. And he did that for years.
Good.
And he got the shaft. Yeah. It would have been nice if he could have.
But now it's Seth Rogen. Time.
Seth Rogen?
Seth Rogen, oh my god.
Seth Rogen is Pumbaa.
He's too distinctive.
But his voice from the trailer, he's doing a character. He doesn't sound like Seth Rogen. So it'd be interesting.
I'm going to have to listen to that, because I'm very good at picking up people's voices.
But $2 billion, that's my prediction.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't contest that.
Luke thinks I'm crazy. Luke says 1.5. It's going to make $1 billion. That's a guarantee.
We should all go to the theater.
Pardon?
We should go to the theater and see it.
We could. That could be our.
Your date night?
No, we tried to do a test. You're a horror person. Did you see the Halloween?
The new Halloween?
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
No interest.
Why?
Why? Because it's a man in a mask.
But that's like.
It wasn't bad.
It's just a slasher movie.
It was quite good.
To me, horror is like, demons and ghosts and paranormal and.
Yeah, but it gets really freaky when it could just be a man in the mask, though.
Although there's plenty of magic, weird stuff, and
yes,
and
was
Halloween.
There?
But what we did is we recorded a review in the parking lot. Luke,
Bad
Tia,
idea.
Eric, and I after.
Did you? Where did you post it? I didn't see that.
Yeah, nobody did.
Oh, okay.
Didn't work out.
So you didn't do a podcast.
Somebody forgot to hit the record button on the audio, so it was gone. But that's okay.
But if we do the Lion
So you didn't record a review.
Well, we had a video.
Did a review.
There's a video of us shouting in a windy parking lot.
So you should cut out the sound and do voiceovers. Come on, get back together and do a voiceover.
You can't capture the magic that happened that night.
It was magic. It was truly once in a lifetime. Yeah. No, so we could do it with the Lion King. The Lion King would be interesting.
I know we have to wrap this up soon, so.
Who said that?
I don't know. Isn't it getting late? Who's going to want to watch us yakking for 2 hours?
It's a good point.
Okay.
You want to hit on something then?
Yeah. I do.
Okay.
I want, because.
Is it selfless promotion?
Selfless promotion.
Selfless.
Actually, no. It's actually.
Shameless promotion. Where did you get the photo? Is that Alan Rickman?
People said it looks like Alan Rickman and Tom Cruise.
Does
together.
a little bit.
His face is long like Alan Rickman a little bit.
Yeah.
See it.
But I want to promote this one because this is the book that my father was initially trying to write. He had about 60 pages and he had a concept and he just was struggling with what to do with it. He didn't know how to write it or where to take it. And he asked if now that I was writing, if I would do it. So I took his idea and I asked if it was okay if I changed it completely. Just because his plot in the long run wouldn't work. Like, you couldn't carry it far enough to be a full novel, like maybe a novella. So he said, yeah, I could change it because I had an idea how to switch it up and make it even better. And so I wrote this book for my father. And I like to share that with people because, that's kind of like his claim to fame too, right? So it's got his name up here, created by Theresa Jacobs, and then written by me.
Both easily abbreviated, although.
TJ
and JJ.
That's right.
Hey,
Hey,
that's our photo.
that's right. And it's
Nice.
got the photo that you took of me on there.
607 people go missing every single day without a trace. Is that true?
Yes.
I just watched a
I Googled
documentary
it.
about people going missing in the UK, but yeah, people just like disappear.
Yes.
It's a thing.
Yes.
Jeremy Samuelson is an ex-Canadian Security Intelligence Service agent and is one of them. 4 months after his mysterious disappearance, Jeremy reappears. But in his mind, no time has passed. ...
The least official thing about that intro was that the person was Canadian. Like, it's like really high ups official or whatever, but he's Canadian. Oh, okay, it was just some guy.
Yeah, but then I also have because it's four main characters who go missing, and
Okay.
the rest of them are Americans. One of them's an Army general, retired Army general, I should say.
It's told from the perspective of the person who went missing, or
It's actually told in the third person, so
Huh.
yeah. So every character kind of has their own. You go through when they went missing, not when they went missing, when they return, because to them no time has passed. So, the one girl, she's at Harvard, and she goes walking into her class, and while her class is locked and there's no people around, she starts freaking out. What the hell's going on? And then they find out that, well, she's been missing for 4 months, and there's another person living in her room, and
wow.
yeah. So it's really, in the beginning,
Cool.
it's very mysterious, and then as Jeremy, the main character, because he's a CSI agent, he starts to dig deeper into it, and the government think that another country maybe kidnapped him and have put some kind of plot in his mind to take over the world or something. So the government starts putting him under hypnosis to find out what's going on. And then
Sounds like it's inspired by like the Russian sleeper agents a little bit.
yeah, but it's science fiction. So
Did you
what they
see-
find out is not anything to do with our world.
Cool.
Did you see the TV show Manifest?
No,
Have you heard of it?
no.
Talked about it a few times. I have yet to watch it. I hear it's good.
What channel is it on? I've never heard
I
of it.
can't remember. I'll get you the information.
Because I have Netflix and Amazon Prime. So
Now that I'm talking about it, I'll get you the information. But it's a airplane that leaves, I forget, it might be Jamaica that it leaves from, and it lands in the States. They think everything's fine, but 5 years has went by in that time, and they have no recollection of the 5 years
cool.
going.
yeah,
So, people have died, people have moved on. There's a very interesting effect, and the entire show kind of starts very confusing, but I don't know if they went the sci-fi route or the religious route. I don't know how they're going to explain it,
yeah.
but it seemed intriguing. Not enough for me to watch it right as it aired, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I've
It's on
never
my
heard of
list.
it.
It's called Manifest.
I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want people thinking I sold their ideas, but I didn't. Because this is written already.
Well, of course. It's right there.
Okay. Was that the last thing you wanted to talk about?
Sure, because otherwise we'll just sit here talk all night, and then people will just turn it off, right?
Perfect.
Well, that's about par for us anyway. So.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for listening. This has been a good interview talking
Yeah,
about
thank you very much for coming. We're very glad that you decided to make your second appearance, and after the film premieres,
Yeah, well,
Maybe
I have.
we'll make a third.
I've always got stuff going on, so yeah.
maybe we could do like a Mystery Science Theater viewing of the movie. Anyways,
Sure, you never know.
yeah.
Yeah, wait till I get permissions, and then we'll go from there.
Alrighty. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Don't forget to check me out.